So you're watching all these self-improvement videos or podcasts, getting fired up to get a better body, a better mind, or what we really all desire, a better life. Well, congratulations. You're in the game, just like everyone else, applying moderate effort towards these things. And what does that get you? Moderate results. Look, if you want to escape the rut you're currently in and actually make real progress towards the things you desire, it requires a season of intensity, isolation, and obsession, where you enter a state of complete immersion. The typical distractions lose their grip on you. Your focus deepens. You enter a state of non-stop flow. And imagine stepping out of this season and looking back on the past 3 months of your life at the immense amounts of progress you made. And from this moment on, things are different. You're different. Listen, if you're not ready for something like this, for true personal development, click off this video now. Come back when you're ready to sit at the big boy table. I was in this exact same position. Sure, I was making little bits of progress on my journey. I was learning things, watching all the videos, throwing 10 new habits into my daily routine, and my results were nothing more than average. And I reached a point where I was fed up. I wanted an intense burst of progress. I wanted a sprint to the results that I desire. And the truth is, I didn't have an option. Because in early 2023, I realized that within a matter of months, I was going to lose my job. I was working as a freelance video editor for a creator, but he stopped making uploads, and the company that was paying me my monthly salary told me pretty much, hey, we're about to let you go. But because I entered the state I'm going to break down in this video, in just 90 days, everything changed. My YouTube channel took off. Video after video was popping off. And I built and launched my business. And from this point on, well over a year since then, I'm fully self-sustainable, all because of that 3-month season of my life. And I am nothing special. This is simply a pattern among all of the people who have achieved or become something great. Look at Steve Jobs, who went in on a season of 48-hour coding sessions and built what we now know as Apple. Look at Michael Jordan, who went through literal seasons of his life where he was the first person in the gym, the last one out, nothing else mattered but his craft, and he literally became the GOAT at his craft. Or even Mozart, who went through periods where he did nothing but compose, sacrificing sleep most nights for it, and created some of the greatest music in existence, because they understood this process. So while all these other self-improvement guys are preaching things like feel-good productivity, balance, 2-hour work days, 4-hour work weeks, everyone who's reached greatness knows that true success is created in sprints. So in this video, I will be breaking down the process to transform yourself and your life forever moving forward in just 90 days. The biggest issue with modern self-improvement content is it convinces you need to be doing all these different things at once. Lift weights, read more books, make money online, meditate, ice bath, go talk to girls. With every video you watch, podcast you listen to, it's like all of a sudden the goalpost has moved. We need to work on this new thing now, prioritize this. And they do this because one, it sounds sexy. It sounds sexy to be a jack of all trades, master all these different skills. And two, because it gives them lots of different content to make. And the more content they make, the more views they get, the more money they make. But the reality is that divided attention kills mastery. Meaning you can't even undergo this process until you have your one thing. You didn't see Michael Jordan going out and approaching girls every night, learning how to code in the mornings, and then just squeezing basketball in there at some point. Because if everything's a priority, nothing is. And if nothing's a priority, you're gonna be making progress at a snail's pace. I faced this early on into my season because fitness has always been a huge part of my life. I was a skinny, insecure kid, got to the gym, made some gains, and it just became a huge part of my identity where I was spending 2 to 3 hours in the gym pretty much every single day. But then I quickly realized as I entered this, I cannot do that and go all in on building my business and producing this content. But because I knew my one thing, the one goal I'm working towards, and based off that goal, I can know each day the one lever I need to pull, I was able to decide, okay, I'm going to cut my training sessions in half. I'm going to cut them all to under an hour because they don't serve the one thing. And I quickly realized that having this one thing was a cheat code for discipline, for focus, for waking up with clarity, knowing exactly what I need to do that day, and making that insane level of progress in such a short window because the momentum just kept building on itself. You cannot multitask. Multitasking doesn't exist. There is only task switching, where you're forcing your brain to unfocus on this thing, refocus on it, and all it's going to do is burn the candle of your mental energy and lead to mediocrity. And if you're not 100% sure what your one thing should be, don't worry, I'll tell you what to do in step 5. But first, regardless of what your thing is, a crucial step that almost everyone misses when they try to do this is management of inputs. Show me a man's inputs and I will show you his outputs. And if you're wondering what an input is, it is essentially anything you allow to enter your consciousness. It is the music you listen to, the YouTube videos you watch, the conversations you have, the things you read online, the news you consume. There is no such thing as inconsequential consumption of information, because every single input that you consume and enters your conscious mind then enters your subconscious mind. So as you already guessed, yes, you're gonna have to cut out all of the bad inputs for this season completely. This is your degenerate music, it's your brain rot content on Instagram Reels or YouTube videos. But another thing is that you even have to cut out the majority of your good inputs, up to 80% of it. Because one of the biggest traps we fall into with self-improvement is overconsumption of information. There's so many podcasts to listen to, so many videos to watch, so many books to read, and we feel productive throughout the entire time. We're getting good dopamine from it. But in reality, the majority of those things during this season are not going to serve the one thing. And a simple exercise you could do to decide your inputs is visualize yourself at the end of this season. Would you be glad that you consumed that piece of information? Did it serve the higher purpose that you're working towards? Or would it be, oh, I just watched that because it was interesting, it really didn't get me any further? Even my content, if you were going all in on learning how to code during the season and I uploaded a video that was how to be more confident, don't fucking click on it. So before you even enter this season, in preparation, purge your environment, both physically in terms of the room you're going to be in or the home you're going to be in. Get rid of anything that is a distraction, that is clutter, that is wasted space, that isn't congruent towards the goals you're working on. But also just go dark digitally. Log out of your Instagram, log out of your Twitter, unplug your Xbox, put it in the closet. Don't worry, in a couple months from now, nothing's going to change. The social media is still going to be there and all your loser friends will still be on the game. And secondly, for the inputs you do consume, build a second brain. Now you could get more complex with something like Notion, or it could just be Apple Notes, or it could just be a journal. But the thing is, when you're consuming inputs, things are going to pop out. When you're reading a book, all of a sudden a certain quote is going to make things click for you, or you're learning a skill by taking a course or watching a YouTube video, a certain piece of advice is going to pop out. And that is when you do not trust yourself to just remember it, you take it and record it in your second brain, because the human brain is fallible, it is forgetful. The second brain is concrete, it'll be there. And the other side of the coin is optimizing for outputs, because what happens is you consume these inputs, they go into your subconscious mind, and eventually, out of nowhere, an output pops out. A connection between 3 different ideas that you wrote down, that you remembered from learning. And this is actually the secret to creativity. As Steve Jobs says, creativity is just connecting things. When you ask creative people how they did something, they feel a little guilty because they didn't really do it. That's because they were able to connect experiences they've had and synthesize new things. So be prepared for new ideas, new realizations, new perspectives to unlock, and also be prepared to record it. But the biggest thing about inputs to avoid overconsumption is that you need to ensure that everything you are consuming is something you can take action on. For example, you're trying to master a sport, you watch game footage. You're trying to learn how to program, you're watching coding videos. But I know you might have external responsibilities you still have to attend to. And also, how are you going to manage taking in these inputs, managing these outputs, taking action on these things every single day? Well, not only are you going to do that, but you're going to be able to manage your entire day because you will be time blocking. One of my biggest mistakes early on when trying to learn stuff, when trying to improve myself, was waking up every day and thinking, I'll wing it. I would just aimlessly navigate my day, which made me extremely distractible. But beyond that, I just didn't know when to start certain things, when to stop certain things, how much time I should allot to certain things. But then I began blocking out specific time windows for my specific tasks and responsibilities. And the way to do this is take the thing you want to accomplish by the end of these 3 months and ask yourself, okay, what do I need to complete the first month to put me on track for the 3 months? Okay, what do I need to complete the first week to put me on track for the month? Okay, what do I need to do today to put me on track for the week, to put me on track for the month, to put me on track for the 3 months? And either the night before or every morning, write down the 1 to 3 main levers that you need to pull that day to put you on track for that day, that week, that month, the 3 months. But here's the key to make this actually work. Adhere to it militantly. This is not, oh, okay, it would be cool if I could get this done today. It's no, I am a professional. I am going all in. This will be done today. And do not negotiate with the inner voice that's going to tell you, oh, let's sleep in a little bit. Oh, let's go do that thing with the friends. Oh, we can push that back to later this day. Oh, let's indulge in this distraction for a few minutes. Because all that inner voice is doing is trying to keep you in your current self, because it is terrified of you becoming your higher self, because it has to die in order for you to do so. And over time, as you do this, it becomes ritualization, which begins to program your mind to expect to do these things every single day. Therefore, your mind will begin getting ready to enter these states. For example, when I did the exact same routine every single day before I started writing a video, by the time I got to there, my brain was already fully primed and ready to lock in and write a new video, or edit a video, or record a video. Therefore, the similar you can make every single day blocked out and the inherent little rituals that are in there, the better. And you'll be shocked how much more you get done when you have the time block, because you have an inherent deadline every single day on certain tasks, and your brain knows that, and it will work infinitely harder because it knows that it has to get it done by this time. This is why a lot of us in school would procrastinate and wait till the last second to finish our school project or whatever, because the deadline was there, and we finally all of a sudden had this motivation to lock in and get the work done. But when it is finally time to do the work, how do you ensure that you really get the bang for your buck? Well, you're going to learn how to deep work. Deep work is a term coined by Cal Newport and is described as a undistracted, uninterrupted, focused work at your highest mental output possible. And this typically happens when you're learning a skill, mastering a skill, or increasing your output of some task that you do. And the main idea is you are maintaining this deep, focused state for as long as you possibly can on this task. And typically, that will trigger a flow state, which is literally the best possible state you could be in during this period, because it is the zone. It is where your brain shuts off certain areas, which gets rid of things like tiredness, like distraction or boredom. And it feels amazing because your brain starts to release more dopamine. And since you're in the zone and you're getting so much done, it releases more dopamine, which makes you enjoy the work even more. But before you even start this session, when you are planning out your day and your tasks, this is crucial. You need to ensure that the task at hand is not too easy, but not so hard that it's undoable. It needs to be slightly beyond your current skill level. This is why video games are so addicting, because it instantly triggers that flow state. Because what does it do? It makes the level or the match you're in slightly more challenging than your current skill level, and your brain is forced to lock in, enter the zone, so that 1, you can complete the task in the game, and 2, you can learn at a rapid rate and get better. So clearly, we're not going to be some of those productivity guru types that oh, set a timer for 15 minutes, work really hard, and take a 5-minute phone break. But eventually, you will take a break, or you will transition to another blocked period of the day. So when it is finally time to take a slight break, you need to ensure that it is boring, for lack of better words. Don't do anything that is more enjoyable than the current thing that you're working on. You want the highest dopamine releases to be from the work itself. So you could just go take a walk outside, lay down for a moment, enjoy a light meal, not something heavy because it'll fuck up your focus. Or my favorite thing, because it helps trigger a flow state, because flow state is a form of mindfulness, is mindfulness meditation. If you're interested in doing it the exact way I do, I have a free 5-day guide in the description. Newport has 4 structures of deep work that you could follow. The first one being seclusion. This is where you cut out literally everything from your life that isn't the deep work itself for as long as possible. This is when you see a musical artist disappear for a year and all of a sudden come back with his greatest work yet. And while of course in a perfect world this is ideal because deep work becomes the default mode every single day, for us it's probably going to be structure 2, periodic. And this is when you carve out portions of each week, month, or year to dedicate to deep work. Because as Newport says, you need at least a day of full deep work to enter the deepest state of it. But for some of you that have jobs or other responsibilities, you'll probably do structure 3, which is scheduling. You fit it into a portion of your day every single day, which is still pretty good because since you get to block it in every single day, it becomes a habit as you ritualize it, which removes a lot of the need for things like discipline and willpower, because eventually your brain is just programmed to expect this thing every single day. And then the fourth structure is whenever you can. This is for people whose lives are complete chaos and they can't make it work. But honestly, this is so unoptimal and it is not congruent with this season, this sprint we're going towards, so don't worry about it. But real quick, a bonus tip to help with this is that you need to become ruthlessly conservative with your mental energy. Mental energy, conscious energy is finite. You only have a certain amount of battery every single day to invest in all the tasks at hand. This is why you'll see billionaires that for a season of their life wear the same exact outfit every single day, because it reduces decision fatigue, and they are so locked in on preserving their precious mental energy that they don't even want to spend 5 seconds in the morning picking a shirt and shorts to wear. Secondly, you can also do this with your diet. Eat almost the same meal every single day. Keep it simple, but a bonus tip is be careful with the carbs. For example, one of my biggest flaws during the beginning of that season is that I was used to bulking and eating a lot of food. So every day at lunch, right before I would enter my deep work session, I would have a massive lunch full of bread or rice or pasta. And then all of a sudden I realized during my deep work session, I want to pass out and I have to rely on high amounts of caffeine with energy drinks. What I found best for me personally is a low carb breakfast, having no lunch or just protein for lunch, and a high carb whatever I want for dinner, because of course I'm probably going to go to sleep after. But there are ways to recharge a little bit throughout your day. One is the meditation that I spoke on. Two would be something like a non-sleep deep rest or a yoga nidra. There's plenty of free ones on YouTube. Or three, going on an outdoor walk purely unstimulated. There's something magical about it. One, just because you're out in nature, but two, your brain will start making a lot of those connections and just outputs will surface. Just trust me. But finally, the core ingredient for this season that will actually set you up for a potential lifetime of success is through mastering a marketable skill. A lot of people romanticize this period of locking in this winter arc, and all their goal was to get a little more jacked or increase their bench press. So they go to the gym with an XL black hoodie and like, oh, it's my winter arc. You're not fucking Batman, dude. Literally everyone who's achieved something great through a season like this is because they went all in on mastering a specific skill. And funny enough, mastery in itself is the highest form of self-improvement. Plus, it's literally the ticket to success and freedom, because you can either be an entrepreneur, you can work for a company, have this high-level skill that isn't going to be replaced by AI because all the shallow skills are pretty soon, or two, you become an entrepreneur. You start your own business where you use this skill to help others, to help businesses, or you even teach other people your skill. And the reason why you don't hear about this quite as much compared to other stuff in self-improvement or business, make money online, is because the gurus don't want you to realize that that's the reality, that you need to dedicate a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of focus to mastering a skill because it impacts their course sales. They want you to think you can buy their agency course or their dropshipping course, and all of a sudden you're making all this money and you're so successful because they just handed you the results. Yeah, that's not how the world works. Before I give you these 6 ingredients of a marketable skill, I just want to ask you, what is something you're already inherently good at or inherently extremely interested in and willing to learn more about? Exploit that. That's how you get ahead of people. You already have a 5-second head start on the sprint. Just sprint harder in that direction. But you need to ensure it has some of, if not all of, these 6 ingredients. And that is, the skill is in high demand in eternal markets such as health, wealth, or relationships. It has real world application. You're able to showcase it to people. It's not something you just say you have, but you can't actually showcase results or your ability to do it. Or it's scalable/adaptable. For example, I had the skill of videography, of being pretty dang good with a camera. And while that does serve me with my own personal YouTube, I was also able to be a freelancer and film other people and edit their videos. And if I needed to or wanted to, I could also go apply it to a business and help them film content for ads and marketing material. I could go be a photographer, a videographer for weddings. 5, it's a skill that solves some kind of problem in the world, in yourself and others. And 6, which is a little more advanced, but it's specialized, or it's able to be specialized. For example, you could be good at writing in general, but if you could specialize it to, I'm good at writing for businesses' emails, or I'm good at writing legal terms of service for apps, or I'm good at writing content for creators, suddenly that's even more marketable because you have a specific person to target and that would want to hire you. And real quick, if you're interested in learning my specific skills, only if you're interested. If you're not, don't worry. You can check out Audience Alchemy, where I teach everything I know about building a personal brand, creating compelling content, and building a business on the back end, all while talking about things you're actually interested in. But listen, You have two paths ahead of you. One, you look back in 3 months' time and you think, wow, that went by fast and I haven't accomplished much. And you can deal with all of the mental turmoil, the shame, the frustration, the guilt that comes with that. Or you can look back and think, I did it. I won this season. The trajectory of my life has completely changed, and more importantly, I have completely changed. But I'm not gonna lie, it's going to take discipline. It's gonna take consistency. You're gonna face resistance. So click the video on the screen right now where I explain how to become dangerously consistent towards your goals.